When we open Jeremiah 31, we are stepping into one of the most hopeful sections of his prophecy. Remember, Jeremiah is often called the weeping prophet. He lived during the final collapse of Judah when Babylon conquered Jerusalem and carried its people into exile. His earlier chapters thunder with judgment, corruption, and despair. But here in chapter 31, Jeremiah shifts the tone. Amid ruins, he delivers God's promise of a new covenant. In the ancient world, covenants were binding agreements, much like treaties between kings. Israel's entire national identity was founded on God's covenant with Moses at Sinai. That covenant had blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. Sadly, the people consistently broke it through idolatry, injustice, and rebellion. By Jeremiah's day, exile proved the covenant had been violated again and again. So God announces a radical change, not the abolition of covenant, but its renewal at a deeper level. Verses 29 to 30 say, In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But every one shall die for his own iniquity. This verse addresses an old proverb in Judah. The people complained that they were suffering exile because of their ancestors' sins. In Jewish culture, family identity was deeply communal. Blessings and curses were often experienced together. Yet here God promises a shift. Each person will be accountable for their own sin. No longer can the community hide behind or blame the sins of their fathers. Applied today, this is a powerful reminder of personal responsibility. While we may inherit broken systems, family patterns, or cultural sins, God holds each of us accountable for our own choices. We are not doomed by our past, but invited into accountability and renewal. In verses 31 to 32, God announces something revolutionary, a new covenant. Notice this is not a mere update, it is a recreation. The covenant at Sinai was written on stone tablets, mediated through priests, and dependent on the people's obedience. But they broke it repeatedly. The new covenant will be fundamentally different. For the Jewish audience, this would have been shocking. Covenant was the heartbeat of their faith. Yet God is not discarding Israel. He is offering a deeper covenant that cannot be broken in the same way. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. This is the climax of the promise. Instead of laws carved in stone, God's instruction will be engraved on human hearts. Instead of depending on priests to mediate, every person will know God directly. And at the core is forgiveness, permanent, final, liberating. This would have been radical in Jeremiah's world. Ancient religion often focused on external rituals, sacrifices, purity laws, festivals. But here God promises internal transformation, intimate relationship. Now let's connect this to John 1:17. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. John is making a direct echo of Jeremiah's promise. The law of Moses was holy and good, but it exposed human sin rather than curing it. Through Jesus, God brought grace and truth, the very essence of the new covenant. At the Last Supper, Jesus even declared, This cup is the new covenant in my blood. So, how does this apply to us today? First, the shift from external to internal. Jeremiah reminds us that true faith is not about outward rituals alone, but about transformation of the heart. Many today still rely on external markers of religion, belonging to a church, carrying a Bible, posting religious quotes online. But God desires an inner change, integrity, compassion, humility written on the heart. Second, the shift from inherited guilt to personal responsibility. We may come from broken families, unjust systems, or cultural failures, but through the new covenant, God offers a fresh start. No one is chained to the failures of their ancestors. Each person can step into forgiveness and renewal through Christ. Third, the gift of direct relationship with God. Jeremiah's promise that they shall all know me points to the intimacy believers experience through the Spirit. We do not need a priestly class to mediate. Christ is our high priest, and the Spirit dwells within us. Finally, the centrality of forgiveness. God declares, I will remember their sin no more. In human terms, forgiveness is often conditional and fragile, but God's forgiveness in Christ is total. For modern Christians weighed down by guilt, shame, or past mistakes, this is liberating. Grace means our past does not define our future. Jeremiah's promise and John's fulfillment give us a complete picture. The Old Covenant revealed the holiness of God but highlighted human failure. The New Covenant, fulfilled in Jesus, writes God's law on our hearts, restores personal responsibility, invites direct relationship, and offers full forgiveness. The question for us is this: are we still living as though God's law were external, a list of rules to keep, or are we living in the grace and truth of the new covenant with transformed hearts and forgiven lives? That's the lesson for this week. Have a great week.